On your side, 12 News starts with breaking weather.
Right now, a tornado watch for southern parts of Virginia as Tropical Storm Debbie slowly makes its way up the East Coast. Debbie making a second landfall in South Carolina, bringing with it a lot of rain, flooding, and several tornadoes so far, including one in North Carolina that destroyed several homes and damaged a school. Here at home, a live look from our Troutman Pepper camera, rain falling on and off as it's only going to get heavier as the day goes on. That, of course, is why today is a first alert weather day. We have team coverage now at noon. Emily Yinger is out in Richmond, which has been preparing for this storm all week long, but we begin with our first alert weather team and the latest on where Debbie is and where, of course, it is headed. Ross.
Hi there, Henry. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, we're watching Tropical Storm Debbie. It is a minimal tropical storm at this point, but you see it is inland here in South Carolina. Look at all that rain that it continues to spread through North Carolina into Virginia, and bands of some heavy rain and even the potential for tornadoes on the eastern side of the circulation coming up through eastern North Carolina and eventually into Virginia as we head through the afternoon. Again, maximum sustained winds at 40 miles an hour. So it's a minimal tropical storm. Should be a tropical depression soon, probably by early this afternoon. As it is over land, the wind speeds will come down. But you see the track up into Virginia by the time we get into tonight, and by tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, coming up through the Shenandoah Valley, and then it will continue to race off to the north and northeast. Now, we do have a flood watch for just about the entire area with the exception of the northern neck and middle peninsula. This is where we'll get lighter amounts of rain overall and a lesser potential for flooding out here. But you get from I-64 in particular, points south and to the west out through the Shenandoah Valley along the I-81 corridor. We do expect some localized flooding, some aerial flood advisories, and likely going to get some flash flood warnings at some point over the course of the day into tonight, even into Friday morning, and even a tornado watch until 1 o'clock this afternoon. Does include Brunswick County, Greensville County, City of Emporia, Sussex, Surrey County, James City, over towards Gloucester and Matthews County, and we do suspect this will be expanded a bit farther to the north and west over the course of the day today because that tornado potential will be there. Also, some coastal flooding. Coastal flood advisory starts at 2 o'clock this afternoon, continues until 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. Minor flooding, again, out towards the northern neck, portions of the middle peninsula as well, including the Potomac River, portions of the Rappahannock River. Some minor flooding up to 1 foot of inundation is certainly possible. Now, for more on the radar, what we're looking at across the area and what to expect for the rest of the afternoon, I'm going to toss things over to Andrew.
All right, Ross, and good to work with Ross. Ross is going to be, I'm going to stay here. Ross is going to be here through the afternoon. Megan will be coming in a little bit as well, as they're going to be monitoring that potential for tornadoes. Now, as we look right now, as the active warnings out there, this is North Carolina and Southern Virginia. There are no active tornado warnings, but it has been a morning, as you heard Henry talk about, with tornado warnings and confirmed touchdowns. And Rachel and I earlier this morning were watching these on radar, and they were very clear to pick out on radar. And when it comes to tornadoes that sometimes spin up from landfalling tropical systems, they happen on the right side of the storm track. And as Ross showed you, the storm's going back in western Virginia. We will be on the right side of the storm track, so it's those feeder bands that feed into the storm that could spin up tornadoes, and we're going to watch it very closely. At the moment, it's just kind of a huge band of rain from Louisa down to Greensville County, and this is exactly what we started talking about yesterday. We talked about it all morning. We said basically heaviest rain west of 95, and it couldn't be more clear here on the map. There's Interstate 95, and although there's some in southern Prince George, some in Sussex County, almost all that rain is on the western side of the I-95 corridor and along the eastern side, again, where Ross showed you, the northern neck, middle peninsula, you're not in a flood watch. There's a lot less there, and we think that's going to be the case as we run through the remainder of this storm. A whole lot more on the western side versus the eastern side. Now, down in Mecklenburg County, that's down near Clarksville. This is a graphic or a piece of data that we look at from the radar. It's a storm relative mean velocity is what we're looking at, and we're looking down there to see if that cell's rotating, and it does not look like it's rotating, but it is a downpour down there for folks that are down near Clarksville. And again, there's that storm track working its way to our west. We are on the front right side of it, and that's why we have that potential to get that tornadoes as we head not just through 1 o'clock, but through potentially the afternoon and evening. And we as a team, and in particular Ross and Megan, are going to be here to help you with any tornado warnings that pop up. Coming up in our next segment, Henry, will work our way through the hourly forecast so you can get an idea what the radar might look like over the next 24 hours. That's in a few minutes.
All right, Andrew, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Ross, to you as well. Thank you. Richmond, the surrounding areas have been getting ready for what Debbie may bring our way. And the National Guard is ready to roll out if needed. Emily Yinger joining us now live with that part of our team coverage. Emily.
Yeah, we've got 130 members of the Virginia National Guard mobilized across the state to help with things like cleaning up debris from any storm damage as well as water rescue. Some of them even stationed out in Petersburg. We've got some pictures of them stationed out there. That's as the entire state of Virginia is under a state of emergency. Flooding is probably the biggest danger from this storm, and crews around Richmond and Henrico have been hard at work to prevent it. This week, they've been unclogging storm drains so that they can work as effectively as possible to drain the water. However, roads in lower lying parts of the city can still flood. That's why the city has something new in some of the most flood prone areas to prevent people from driving into deceptively high water and getting stuck.
We have put mitigation efforts in place that are arms that come down when water hits a certain level, and that helps individuals know not to drive through that.
Now here in Richmond, the inclement weather shelter that Richmond operates along with the Salvation Army is now open for anyone who needs to take refuge from the storm. It's at 1900 Chamberlain Parkway. Meals will be provided as long as it's open. Power outages have been reported across the Richmond metro region through Dominion Energy. I just checked on their power outage map. It's roughly about 200 customers right now who are out of power due to these storms. So we're going to continue to follow along with all that and keep you updated on the latest. If your power does go out, though, you do have some options for those shelters that you can check out. So again, we'll keep you updated on conditions out here in Richmond. Emily Yinger, 12 on your side.
Thank you very much. We'll check back in with you. We could also see more power outages as Tropical Storm Debbie gets closer to our area. So if yours does go out, the first thing you do should be to report it for Dominion Energy. You can use the mobile app to do that. You can also go to dom.com or call 1-866-DOM-HELP. Now, for Southside Electric customers, you can call 866-878-5514, or you can text #out to that same number. And then for our customers with Rappahannock Electric Cooperative, call 1-800-552-3904 or go to myrec.coop. Other things you should do if the lights do go out during the storm: try to keep your fridge and freezer closed to keep cool food cold as long as possible. Use flashlights rather than candles for light. Unplug electronics and appliances when possible. They can be damaged by surges when that power does come back on. Switch your air conditioner off for that exact same reason, and make sure your stove and oven are turned off so they don't pose a risk for fire when the power does come back on. Right now, North Carolina bearing the brunt of Tropical Storm Debbie. At least 6 tornadoes have touched down there, including one in Wilson County, where several homes are damaged or destroyed. Melissa Parra there now with a closer look for us.
Hey there. Well, those in the path of Tropical Storm Debbie are under a dual threat between flash flooding and the risk of tornadoes. And the impacts of tornadoes you can see behind me. This is one of the areas where tornadoes overnight struck. We're just outside of Raleigh. We're about an hour east. This is Wilson County. A tornado took off the roofs, damaged several homes, including the one you see behind me. And unfortunately, the man that search and rescue teams were looking for, they did not find alive. So this is already proven to be fatal. And remember, all of this area, North Carolina and Virginia, also under a flood risk. And this is something, it's a severe flood risk. We've already seen flooding overnight in the small town of Bladenboro, 2 to 3 feet of water, several rescues, no injuries reported. But the risk of tornadoes and flooding remains high as the system continues to move north through North Carolina, through Virginia, and further north, all things that we're keeping an eye on here on the ground.
Melissa Parr, thank you so much. The National Weather Service has now confirmed 7 tornadoes have touched down in South Carolina's low country as Tropical Storm Debbie made its way through. They were all either EF1 or EF0 twisters, the strongest with winds of 97 miles per hour. That was enough to damage several homes, including one man's roof that was ripped off and thrown into his neighbor's yard. According to the state's Emergency Management Division, South Carolina usually sees an average of 11 tornadoes in an entire year. Flooding in South Carolina's Low Country has some people welcoming new neighbors. You can check it out here. Several alligators spotted swimming in a resident's backyard in the town of Bluffton. That's just west of Hilton Head Island. The woman who lives here says she saw 8 of them. And another alligator was seen in Charleston walking around a resident's backyard. Pretty scary stuff. This was supposed to be the first day of classes for some children in our area, but Debbie throwing a wrench into those plans, so students in Brunswick, Louisa, and Prince Edward counties will be going back now on Monday instead. The 7th annual Ultimate Backpack Supply Drive is back today. With the help of viewers just like you, we are working to make sure students all across Central Virginia get the supplies they need before they head back to school. Sarah Bloom is at the Richmond Convention Center to tell us how you can still help.
Hey guys, I'm Sarah Bloom. I'm out here at the Greater Richmond Convention Center for the Ultimate Backpack Supply Drive in its 7th year. Operations underway throughout the day. I've got to bring in Timmy Wynn with the VCU Alumni Organization. You're the brains behind this organization. This is a huge day for us.
It truly is, and we couldn't have done this without the support of the Richmond community and all the local businesses. It's just truly amazing how big this event has grown and how much impact it has on our students.
Let's talk about that impact, because you can kind of see behind us all these backpacks lined up early in the day, ready to be filled. It's more than 30,000, right?
A little bit over 30,000. We're hoping to get as close as possible to 40,000, supporting 5 local school districts along with the Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU.
And what students does the supply drive serve?
Yeah, this supports Chesterfield, Hanover, Henrico, Petersburg, and Richmond, and then also the Children's Hospital.
Because they're kids that are at the hospital, they're learning
Right.
while they're getting treatment.
Absolutely. So that's the one thing. We want to make sure that no matter where you are, you have the resources, whether you're in school or at the hospital.
We've worked together on this for
Yep.
a few years now. It's always one of my favorite events because you see the way hearts come together for our kids, the way people come in and give their time, their resources.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people that are involved in making this happen.
It is. I mean, it's a lot of work, but there's a lot of volunteers coming together to put these backpacks together on a day like this. And, I usually have 600 volunteers coming out, sweating and with tears coming out, hoping to have a huge impact for students.
And we've seen community members that have watched this on the broadcast.
Yeah.
They've driven by
Yeah.
with supplies, which, by the way, you can come between 1 and 6 today for this year's drive and drop off supplies. Last year you said we filled a bus.
Yeah, we fill the bus, and it really shows you when you ask the Richmond community to come together, they answer the call each and every day, and it's just amazing how what's being donated and how much is being donated.
And let's talk a little bit about the impact here when we see this go to kids in the classroom. What do you hear from the parents and from the kids about what they receive?
You hear from the families saying, we are struggling to make ends meet. Thank you so much for the school supplies, because you have made my child's first day of school much better and allowed them to pursue the ultimate dream.
I think we can end on that, because truly that's what this is all about. It's making sure kids go to school prepared, they have the supplies they need, and the families aren't sacrificing basic needs
Absolutely.
to get kids into the class. So Timmy, thank you for all you do. Thank you for making this happen for our community again. And thanks to all of you who have stepped in year after year and participated. We are so excited for this 7th Ultimate Backpack Supply Drive. Guys, we're going to be out here all day long. We're going to bring you updates on how this is going and how these beautiful gifts are received. On your side out here at the Greater Richmond Convention Center, I'm Sarah Bloom. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. We take a look at our Skycam here over downtown Richmond. We have the overcast skies, not raining right now at the airport where it is 78 degrees. Very humid, dew points in the mid-70s. So definitely that tropical feel to the atmosphere out there today. Upper 70s to around 80. Temperatures really aren't going to move all that much. You see the dew points exceptionally high with this tropical air mass in place. And here's the satellite and the radar picture. It shows you really a good definition of where we're seeing the rain and where we're not. A lot of clouds out here near the bay, down to Hampton Roads. It's dry. We're going to get many dry hours out here during the course of the day today. A lot of the steady and heavier rain as you get west of I-95 over the Piedmont, out towards the Blue Ridge. It's going a little bit tighter. You see everything is moving from the southeast to the northwest. So again, we're targeting the steadiest, most persistent, most significant rain here west of I-95, although we are seeing some rain near the I-95 corridor. Here in Sussex County, generally some lighter rain does pick up a little bit here in Prince George County around the Tri-Cities. That is going to be tracking up through Chesterfield County. Watch out around Chester, eventually coming up towards Bellwood and Bensley and up into the city here soon. And some lighter rain northern Greensville County, northern Brunswick County. Then you get into western Dinwiddie, and especially as we get out here towards Amelia, some moderate, occasionally some heavier rain here into Powhatan, Goochland, into Fluvanna County, Buckingham County, Prince Edward County, around Farmville, up through Cumberland County, Lunenburg and Mecklenburg seeing some pockets of moderate to heavy rain, especially there in southwestern Mecklenburg County. We've had some heavy rain around Clarksville, and there you see the center of circulation coming up through South Carolina. So it's the eastern side and northeastern side where we're going to be most vulnerable to some quick spin-up tornadoes. They may happen very, very quickly. You may have very little warning when these tornadoes do develop to get to your shelter. Once a warning is issued, we urge you to get to your safe space as quickly as possible. So far, so good. We have not had any warnings as of yet, but there's a brand new tornado warning near the I-95 corridor there in North Carolina. And it really is these feeder bands. Notice these little bands of rain and some deeper shades of red and orange. There's another one there in coastal North Carolina. This is what will work its way up into central and eastern Virginia this afternoon into this evening, and that's where we will most likely see that potential for some quick spin-up tornadoes. Not everybody's going to see that, but that potential is certainly there, and you need to be alert to any warnings that are issued. Also, the risk of flash flooding. You see its focus over North Carolina from Raleigh up towards Roanoke, Danville, into Henry County, around Martinsville, up along the I-81 corridor. And even as you get west of Richmond out towards Powhatan County, Cumberland County, there is a moderate risk of flash flooding. It is lower here in eastern Virginia, but we could have some isolated instances of flash flooding later today, tonight, into Friday morning. You see the flood watch posted essentially near and south of I-64 and out to the west, where we do have that higher risk of flash flooding. It's much lower out on the northern neck and middle peninsula. And there's the tornado watch until 1 o'clock. So this doesn't last that much longer, but we do expect this to be extended. It's very likely it will be extended and probably expanded a little bit farther to the north and west as we move through the afternoon. Coastal flood advisory starts at 2 o'clock, continues until 8 o'clock tomorrow. We talked about this earlier. Some minor flooding, up to 1 foot inundation, again out towards the northern neck, middle peninsula, including Middlesex County, Rappahannock River, Potomac River as well. So there's all the advisories. What's going to be happening hour by hour? Let's take a closer look at that with Andrew.
Yeah, Ross, thanks a lot. We're going to jump quickly on that warning that we had down in North Carolina. And this is what all morning long we've been watching. They've had multiple tornado warnings down here. We had confirmation they touched down and there was some damage. But this is the kind of thing, and just to sort of fill back in with what Ross said, these, in this kind of situation, spin up quickly and they can dissipate quickly. So they can be very hard to give a large advance warning for. But this is for this little ripple that you can see here on the velocity data headed toward Rocky Mount, potentially along the I-95 corridor. So if you're leaving Emporia heading down I-95, I would wait just a bit. And I would also make sure that you have the 12 on your side weather app, because it'll give you any alerts to anything like this that'll spin up wherever you happen to be traveling during the day today. The rain total over the past 24 hours down in Wilmington, southern North Carolina, in Georgia and South Carolina is where the big rain totals have been. But the rain totals, they're getting impressive now. And again, as we've been talking about over the past day or so, on the western side of our viewing area. So this graphic shows you an average from Lunenburg into portions of Mecklenburg County of more than an inch of rain. That wouldn't cause any flooding, but there's much more to come. And along, again, the I-95 corridor and points east, we have had less. We've only had about 1/3 of an inch so far of rain in the Richmond metro area. So the hourly forecast for the rest of the afternoon, we again think that the bulk of the rain is going to be along that corridor, right around I-95 and points west. And those of you east, although there may be a downpour, might even be a tornadic cell that develops, it's just not going to be as much rain as there's going to be along and west of I-95. So the downpours keep on coming as we roll through the afternoon. Now at midnight, things aren't going to calm down. This is not a system, or this is not a rain chance or a severe threat that is driven by the sun. This is just the spin in the atmosphere courtesy of this system. So as we look into the overnight, we could still be getting some downpours. So today the rain chance is not overwhelming all day long unless you're out pretty far west of the Richmond metro. For most of us, it's about a 50, 60%, occasionally 70% rain chance, 83 for the high. Keep the rain gear nearby. Tonight, those downpours, as we have rain chances at near 100% tonight. Again, a muggy night, mid-70s with that easterly breeze. Oh, and the breeze we should mention will be picking up tonight into tomorrow. And tomorrow on another first alert weather day, the rain chances highest morning and midday. Still could be some showers as we go later into the day. The high temperature tomorrow at 82. So here's tomorrow morning, some showers. Again, these, although they probably aren't going to produce a lot of thunder and lightning, might spin up a quick funnel cloud or tornado. So we have to watch all the way through about the early afternoon tomorrow. Some downpours tomorrow into the afternoon or to midday. And then around 5 o'clock or as you go later in the day, less and less action on radar. Finally, for the day Saturday, we clear everything out of here. Debbie's remnants will be long gone. We may have some mud left over, but it'll be a dry Saturday at 88. A comfortably cooler night Saturday night into the 60s, and on Sunday into the mid-80s. So it's clearing just in time for your activities this weekend. The Richmond Jazz and Music Festival happens this weekend. Richmond Raceways, big race weekend, all looks dry. And next week, we say goodbye to that excessive level of humidity. And Monday through Wednesday of next week, high temperatures in the mid-80s, overnight lows in the 60s. Less humid than it is now, and less humid than it's been for about the past week or two. Let's head back over to Henry.
All right, Andrew, thank you so much. Rain or shine, one of Richmond's favorite events is back tomorrow. The Richmond Jazz and Music Festival returns to Maymont Friday through Sunday. Ludacris, Fantasia, Monica, Regina Belle are among some of the big names performing there. Tickets still on sale right now. Head to 12onyourside.com for more details. That is going to do it for us here on this special edition of the Noon Show. But don't forget, we are committed to making sure you get the latest weather alerts while you also continue to enjoy those Olympics on our air. Our first alert meteorologist will bring you hourly updates on all of our streaming channels throughout the day and a live streaming edition of First at 4. And then, of course, our team back on air for On Your Side at 6. That's our time. I'm Henry Greff. Have a great day.